Welcome to the In My Defense podcast, where we chop it up about sports, culture, and life the way it was meant to be discussed. Bold takes, thoughtful analysis, and real talk. Nothing personal, but in my defense, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Now is about that time of the show where I bring in my frat brother, my man, VP of Marketing, my boy, Quentin Wright McDuffie. What's good with you, brother?
Nothing much, brother. I'm on vacation, soaking in the suns. For those viewers, you are not looking at a darkened screen. I did get a nice little tan. I did a good tan. Listen, I'm enjoying paradise. Like I told you guys last episode, went away for my wife's birthday. We'll be back tomorrow, but shout out to my guy Canty for not making it, a little too hard for me to be able to record this week. So I'm excited that we still got something in today.
Now, how the hell did you pull this off where you could steal away to have time for the podcast during your wife's birthday celebration trip? How the hell that work?
See, it's kind of like what we talked about on some of our pilot episodes when the football season is coming up. You got to get creative. I sent wifey to the spa for 80 minutes. An 80-minute spa date should be able to get us to record, chop some things up, shoot the breeze. You got to think smarter than harder,
I'm just trying to figure out what level of pimping are you on so I can try to incorporate that in my game. Because let me tell you something. If my wife wanted to go away for a birthday trip, ain't no way in hell she's letting me take time to do a podcast, bro.
I don't know about taking time versus making time.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Taking time versus making time. But I just want to apologize in advance because when she see this episode go live, she's going to be like, when did he record that?
There it is.
But we got a loaded show today, Canty. We got NBA that started off yesterday, OKC versus Houston. Also, the LeBron-less Lakers versus Golden State. If you don't mind, let's jump straight into some NBA and then kick it back to football.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we can start with my Lakers, dude. And I might be one of the few Lakers fans that came into this season with zero expectations. You know why? Because the Lakers ain't winning a championship with LeBron James and Luka Dončić. And the main reason why is because them guys don't play defense at their stages in their career. Luka has never been a good defensive player, so let's start there. I don't give a damn how good the diet he's on. He ain't never played no defense. And yesterday was no different. All of the blow-bys by Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler got to the free throw line 16 times yesterday. 16 free throws. 16. Perfect 16 for 16. Yeah. I mean, the Lakers don't play any defense. And when you look at the Western Conference, all of the best teams are really, really good defensively. Even the Denver Nuggets, who aren't typically good defensively with Jokic, improved defensively. They went out and made the move to bring over Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets. They got THJ on that roster now. They got Bruce Bowen back. They added Valanciunas. Like, they're gearing up so they can be better defensively, because that's what you have to be if you're going to take on the likes of the Houston Rockets or the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hell, even the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're perennially one of the best defensive teams in the league. So if you're going to compete with all of the other powers in the West, you've got to be good defensively. And the Lakers just aren't personnel that way, right? They brought over DeAndre Ayton. He's never been known for his defensive prowess. Last night, there were points in the game where he just looked lost on the court in terms of what you're asking him to be and where you're asking him to be defensively. So with LeBron and Luka on the court, with LeBron when he gets back healthy, you're talking about playing 3-on-5 on the defensive end, and that's just not good enough.
No, not at all. And I mean, last night, I totally forgot Marcus Smart was on the Lakers. I'm sitting watching the game. I'm like, yo, who is that? That's Marcus Smart. But I think the Lakers are setting up for the next 2-3 years.
Can we be clear about one thing about this version of Marcus Smart? It's not Defensive Player of the Year from the Boston Celtics Marcus Smart.
No.
It's not that guy. Smart, it's not that guy anymore.
That Marcus Smart was still pissing me off, especially in the playoffs, because he thought he was Steph Curry. When they lost that game, those games against the Warriors in the finals, he kept trying to go bucket for Steph Curry. He tried to do that last night. I mean, you've seen some glimpses of the old Marcus Smart, but I really think the Lakers are preparing for the next 2-3 years. They did not re-sign LeBron. This is the first time ever in his career he's not signing on that final leg of his contract. They're building around Luka. Luka has some good stats last night, some good stats and facts last night. Him being able to turn around and still give you a good, close to a triple-double. We have 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. That's Luka. That's what you need from Luka. I don't see a championship, but I think it will be, I won't say a failure, but I think we will see LeBron give it 1 more or 2 more years if it's beyond devastating how they look in the regular season.
Yeah,
if they don't make the playoffs, especially.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Luka is special on the offensive end, right? Like when he's rolling, when he's at his best, he's special. I mean, he's unbelievable. He was doing damage and getting to the rim, working in the mid-range. They couldn't stop him. Problem with that is the Lakers can't stop nobody either, right? I mean, the trio of Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, and Jonathan Kuminga combined for 42 points last night. The Golden State Warriors as a team damn near shot 50, 40, 90. 48% from the field, 42% from three, 89.7% from the free throw line. When you're making the entire team shoot 50, 40, 90, you're bad defensively. You're just bad. And that's the part that I can't get past as a Lakers fan. I understand where this team is at. They're not going to be able to be competitive until they can unlock the resources that they got tied in LeBron James, that cap space. Because let's be honest, LeBron and Luka, it's just not a fit, especially at this stage of LeBron's career.
Yeah, Canty, I'm 100% behind you, but that was not the game of the night. I know it was the last game of the night, but that was not the game of the night. The game of the night was Thunder surviving the double overtime in a thrilling ring night and wild opening. Şengün shined. I was happy to see him shine, but OKC had the last word. You had some good performances from Şengün. Like I mentioned, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. You want that. But the big three of OKC combined for 71 points in total. Shai, 32, 8 and 4. Chet, 21, 11 and 5. And then Jalen still getting 18, 6 and 5. I think this is what we are calling the new dynasty for the next couple of years. Young talent. Everybody knows how to play their role. What did you think about that thriller in OKC and Durant coming back to the place that birthed him?
Well, it's crazy because it wasn't even all NBA Jalen Williams. It's the other Jalen Williams with a Y. So, I mean, it's wild the amount of depth that OKC has. Mark Dagnall, he plays, 10 deep every single game. And when you got a game that goes into double overtime, you're going to have a distinct advantage, right? Amon Thompson, the best defender for the Houston Rockets, he had to leave the game because he was locking up with cramps. That's how OKC operates. They can take you out to deep water and drown you just because they can keep throwing bodies at you. And there is no drop-off when it comes to the guys that are coming in the second unit. So I love the way that they play. I have an increasing appreciation for the greatness of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I know that a lot of people refer to that cat as a free throw merchant, but this dude is a bucket whenever he wants it, right? He only had 11 points through the first 3 quarters of the game, but in the fourth quarter, in both overtimes, he combined 7 of 14 from the field, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 24 points, including being able to draw that foul on Kevin Durant with less than 2 seconds to go in double overtime, get to the line, and hit the go-ahead free throw. To me, SGA being able to get you a bucket when you absolutely need it, get to his spot whenever he wants to, is what separates the Oklahoma City Thunder from anyone else in the Western Conference. Right now, he is arguably the best bucket getter in the entire NBA. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm already here. But I think he's got the hardware to prove it. And last night, he backed up the performance that we saw last year when he came off the MVP, won a championship, also won Finals MVP. SGA is that dude. And we're at the point now where we all have to accept it.
He is a baller. He's a bucket getter. And there's a definition for hooper out there. Everybody says what's a hooper, who's not a hooper. Shai's a hooper. And I love when he gets to his spots. He takes those shots. They call him a free throw merchant, but I call him a mid-range merchant. He's perfecting how you can score at all 3 levels. If you give him the opportunity to kind of pump fake too hezzy, get to the hole, he's going to do that. You give him the midi, he's going to take that. He's not Steph Curry from the 3, but he's very consistent when he's getting the ball rolling. But I'm not sold that they're going to go back to back.
Why are you not sold on them? What?
I'm just I feel like the NBA in the last several years has had the most parity it's ever had.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There have been, the last 7 years, there have been 7 different champions. So I hear what you're saying, but consider this. You have arguably the best player in the game. You have 2 other guys that have all NBA caliber talent, and you have the deepest team, bar none, in the entire league. Barring anything unforeseen in the way of injury, they're going to be in the championship rounds. And based on what you saw last night, how could you not have confidence that they're going to come out on the right side of that?
Because the Houston Rockets took them to 2 overtimes. And I don't think the Houston Rockets is on their level as of yet. I think they still got to gel.
That's a hot take.
I think they still got to gel.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw a curveball at you because I found something fascinating while I'm watching the ring ceremony before the game tipped off. And I couldn't help but think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the one to deliver a championship to Oklahoma City and not the trio of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. 3 players that won MVPs in their own right. They weren't the ones to do it. It was SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fascinating to me because from an individual talent standpoint, I don't think there's really an argument when it comes to ability of the respective big threes, but it's a matter of complementing one another, putting it all together, and having it work out. And I think that's what makes OKC special, and that's why I have confidence in them, because it's not a collection of talent.
Yep.
They're a quintessential team. It's not that they lack talent, because they do, but they are connected in a way that you typically don't see teams in professional sports be.
Now, as much as they want to say the original big 3 of Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, and for the young listeners, you guys probably didn't believe that all 3 of them was on the team at the same time. As much as we can say them not getting that ring could be an indictment on their legacies, I think there's a bigger legacy that we need to talk about, and that's Sam Presti. He is doing what he needs to do in assembling a team. So I understand where people feel that this is the dynasty of the future because he's built some great pieces, young pieces, and he added around them people that know their role. But at the same time, I think you got a team in the Magics that can come in a couple years. Maybe not right now. I think there's a team in New York that has some stuff to say. Indiana, they're out of it. I think without Hallie is going to be bad.
Yeah, he's not going to play all of this year. So
Celtics, I think, is going to be bad. But I do see the Spurs. I seen Wemby. Oh my God, this guy added to his bag. You got 2 7-footers, one playing power forward, one playing center, and they've been doing nothing but alley-oops and just dropping it off to each other during the preseason.
That's a hell of a 2-man game, ain't
it? And then you also got the Clippers, and I know nobody believes in them, but Chris Paul is going to be there to make sure he kind of keeps the ship going afloat.
Yeah, and listen, Kawhi Leonard has looked good this preseason.
He looks healthy.
I know it's preseason, but he looks good. From a health standpoint, he looks good. But here's the thing. The Western Conference is stacked. There isn't a whole lot of opportunity. You keep talking about these up-and-coming teams. Where they going? Because they're going to keep running into the same squads that are at the top of the West. So I just don't see it. Like, I don't think there's any room when you consider the top 4 teams in the West, in my opinion, and in no uncertain order. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors, and the Houston Rockets. Like, I don't see any room for anybody else to step up. I mean, people want to look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. They want to believe in Ant-Man, who's been to back-to-back conference finals. But I just don't see how they get there because those other teams are so good. So I think the East is far more interesting because you have more teams that if things break right, they could potentially make a run at getting to an NBA Finals, right? You look at the Cavs and the New York Knicks, the 2 co-favorites to come out of the East and get to the finals. But I mean, it's the Cavs without LeBron James. They're already dealing with injury issues. Darius Garland's hurt. Max Strus is banged up. He's out. We'll see what happens with Lonzo Ball. Like they're already dealing with stuff. And then, of course, the New York Knicks, they're breaking in a brand new head coach in Mike Brown. They're turning the page on the Tom Thibodeau era. So we'll have to see how that works out. And then you have all of these other teams that you can put in the hat. You got the Atlanta Hawks, who had maybe the most valuable trade asset in the NBA, that pick that they're getting from the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't think that team will look the same at the end of the season as they do right now. You also have the Orlando Magic. They made the Desmond Bane trade because they sensed an opportunity in the Eastern Conference. The Detroit Pistons are a tough out, not to be overlooked, not to be disrespected. Curious to know whether or not they get back in on Malik Beasley. He had a prolific three-point shooting season last year, almost historic. Now that he's been cleared from all of the malfeasance, I'm curious to know whether or not they get involved in his free agency, that courtship. I know that they got Duncan Robinson on the team. I'm curious to know if they try to spin the block with Malik Beasley. That will become interesting. And then a team that nobody really wants to believe in, but I think people should be paying attention to, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh.
I'm bullish on the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid has looked good throughout the preseason games, open scrimmages. I love VJ Edgecombe, what he brings to the table. Tyrese Maxey, dog. If Paul George can give them anything at the four, if he can give them anything, if Paul George can play in 60 games and Embiid can play in 60 games, then the Philadelphia 76ers are going to make a run to the Final Four this year. They're going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, again, I know it's hard to have faith or confidence in Philadelphia from a health standpoint, but that to me is a dark horse team to come out of the East.
A dark horse? They need a voodoo doctor at this point in time to stay healthy. I've always been an Embiid fan. Tyrese, I love him. Paul George, one of my favorites. I loved him when he was at OKC. He could have won Defensive Player of the Year and then also MVP for that year. He was up there in top 3, I believe. But they got to stay healthy. They got to stay healthy.
They got to stay healthy, and they got to figure out what they're doing with the power forward spot. Like Paul George will be a small forward, but that's what they need him to play. Adem Bona, that's another guy that they're looking at. Like they've got to workshop what they're going to do at the forward position. But if they can figure that out, and Embiid and Paul George can stay healthy and play, like I said, minimum 60 games, then all of a sudden, I think people need to consider the Philadelphia 76ers. Like they got a lot of firepower. They got a lot of guys that could go. So, we'll see. But the 100. East is wide open. I mean, anybody can make a case. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, even without Damian Lillard, you still got Giannis. You made the move to bring over your boy Miles Turner from the Pacers. Even they can look at it if they squint. I mean, if they really squint. I mean, I'm talking about just that they squint. They can see a path to trying to get to the NBA Finals. So again, I think it's just there are a bunch of teams in the East that are going to be in the mix.
Well, let's take it from the hardwood to the field. There was a team this week that I know is going to break your heart, but let's just talk about how the Giants dominated for the first 3 quarters, but collapsed in the last. Turnover, special team breakdown, let the Broncos mount one of the most incomparable comebacks in NFL history. Who are you putting that loss on? The defense or that late Jaxon Dart intel? Who is that loss on?
Man, listen, everybody got a hand in it. Anytime you have that kind of lead, everybody's got a hand in the loss. I would say this. Joe Shane not having a plan at kicker and rolling with Jude McAdamy, a guy that they ended up cutting just yesterday or cutting the week, days after the gaps, missing a couple extra points. That's just completely unacceptable. And here's the thing. If it was a one-off, I get it. But they had the same problem last year when Graham Gano got hurt. They were in the Washington Commanders game. They couldn't convert on extra points. They lost the game to the Commanders where the Commanders didn't score a touchdown. They just kicked 7 field goals. That's unacceptable to have that be an issue year over year. The other problem that I have is on the defensive side of the ball. Shane Bowen, defensive coordinator. Hey, bro, you lost that game the exact same way you lost the Dallas Cowboys game. You let a receiver run get vertical entry into the middle of the field, turn around and catch the ball and be in field goal range. There's no world that exists where Marvin Mims should be running down the middle of the field in that situation, knowing what the stakes are, knowing that the Denver Broncos are just trying to position for a kick. It's the same thing that happened at the end of regulation against the Dallas Cowboys. Jake Ferguson running down the middle of the field, down the seam, turns around, catches the ball, first down, sets up Brandon Aubrey to kick it to send it into overtime. You can't keep making the same mistakes and ask for forgiveness. At this point, I'm over it. Like, you just have to be able to go out there and execute. So he deserves some blame. Head coach Brian Dabo, as the play caller on offense, deserves a lot of blame in this too. Him and Mike Kafka. 3rd and 5 minutes to go in the game. Why are you throwing the ball? Why are you even throwing the ball? Why are you putting a rookie quarterback in that situation where he can turn it over?
You got scat.
You ran the ball twice on that series with Cam Scatterboo, forced the Denver Broncos to burn 2 timeouts. Run the ball again and make them use their last timeout. That's what you do. Make them use the timeout. I don't understand that. Even if you don't want to run Scatterboo, you want to throw a curveball at him? Okay, cool. Design quarterback run. I get wanting to protect Jaxon Dart and not wanting to expose him to a lot of hits, but hell, you used him later on in the game on the goal line on the design run that ends up being a touchdown. If you can use them then in that situation where you probably shouldn't have been in goal to go, thanks to a nice DPI penalty, you could have used them to put the game on ice when you actually had the lead. It didn't make any sense to me. So Dabo deserves blame. Joe Schoen deserves blame. That kicker damn sure deserves blame. Shane Bowen, defensive coordinator, deserves blame. Yeah, there's plenty of blame to go around. But if I'm keeping it a buck, I came out of that game encouraged. I'm optimistic about my Giants because you have the best defense in the NFL. And they were talking cash money leading up to the game. Jonathan Cooper talking about Jaxon Dart and how he was out there swagging and feeling a way about that. Guess what? Jaxon Dart, rookie quarterback on the road, went out there and hung 32 points, should have been 34 points, on the best defense in the National Football League. Nick Bonito, sack expert for the Denver Broncos, came out after the game this week and he said, Jaxon Dart is a lot better than we thought he was. Head coach Sean Payton from the Denver Broncos said, talked to John Mara, really wish they would have made that switch to Jaxon Dart later in the season after we played him. They see something in Jaxon Dart that's special. And I'm excited as a former player and as a current Giants fan on what the future holds.
And you should be. Jaxon Dart finished the game. He had 4 touchdowns himself. 3 through the air, 1 on the ground, 283 yards. If you take away that into that he threw, critical into that he threw in the late 4th quarter, I would say Jaxon Dart is making everybody believers. You know what I mean? I love his game, and I'm with you. Even if you didn't want to use Scatterboot in that moment and you wanted to play a little game, do a little tricky throw, a little screen, you had other running backs on that team that have some, vet to them. You got Tracy. He can maybe came out, do something. He's a dog. But you also had Devin Singletary that can 100% catch. And maybe you could have got something from there, got the ball rolling. But before we get into the Broncos, you said you walked away feeling, like you have some hope.
I'm optimistic. I got hope, man. I got hope.
Do you see this being an indictment that we walk away? I don't know how the locker rooms are after a game, a loss like this. How is the locker room moving? Is the indictment of the defense saying, hey, the next game we got to come out and punch people in the mouth? Or is this more the coaching staff saying we need to get a better game plan in these moments? Because again, the Cowboys, same way. What's going on in the locker room?
I think the locker room is cool, man. Jaxon Dart has aura, man. He's got charisma. He's got the it factor, right? We can't really quantify it. It's not something that seems like it's measurable beyond just the wins and losses, but the overall product on the field for the Giants is much more competitive. It's been a 4th quarter game every single start that Jaxon Dart has made. And that's all you can ask for, man. I didn't have any expectations for the Giants making the playoffs this year because I knew it was a transition year in terms of the franchise trying to establish an identity that can lead to sustained success. I did not think that Jaxon Dart was going to come around this quickly, but we saw signs of it in the preseason. And the reality is that the game is not too big for him. It's not too fast for him. He's found a way to be able to slow it down. He has a steady heartbeat, and he has the swag and the confidence to make plays in critical moments of the game. And everybody feeds off of that. So if you have all of those things, then you got something that you can build around if you're the New York Giants, right? The biggest piece of the puzzle that you have to figure out in the NFL is who your quarterback is going to be. Because when you know that, it makes it easier to make all of the other decisions. The Giants know who their quarterback is going to be for the rest of the season. They know who their quarterback is going to be for the next decade. And that's a good place to be.
Yeah, when you solve the quarterback problem, I think you solve a lot of problems going on with the franchise.
Yeah, because that guy can erase a lot of mistakes that people everywhere else on the team can make. He covers up a lot of things that aren't as good as they should be. Remember the Giants having offensive line problems? We ain't really talking about the Giants' offensive line that much anymore. You know why? Because Jackson Dart got some motherfucking wheels. That's why we're not talking about it. You see what I'm saying? So that's where we're at. The only question now that the Giants have to answer is how much do you trust Joe Schoen and Brian Dabo to develop this talent that you have at quarterback in Jaxon Dart and develop the talent around him that will allow your team to have high-end success. Those are the only questions that are left to be answered for the rest of this season.
Quick one on the Denver Nuggets, and then we're going to go into our last take for first whistle. Denver has displayed resilience all year round. They've
Denver
Nuggets
or the Denver Broncos?
Excuse me. We're talking too much NBA, NFL. Denver Broncos, my bad, players. But the Denver Broncos have displayed resilience and execution under pressure. They've had multiple comeback wins this year. They've had momentum kind of take them to the finish line. It's raising the question, are they a team that need their back against the walls, or are they always going to be this comeback swinging when their back's against the wall kind of team? Or can they really turn this into consistent wins throughout 4 quarters?
I think they're living dangerous with trying to come back from being down 18, 19 points every single game, right? Like that's not sustainable, man. They got to find a way to be more consistent in terms of scoring, right? We saw it against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it ended up being a cool story coming from behind against them people. New York Jets game was weird. It's a London game. I think all of those games in London are just super weird, but they let the Jets hang around, only won by 2. And then you did the same thing against the New York Giants, a team that you should have dominated, a team that, based on how you was talking going into the game, sounds like you were going to dominate, and you had to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I think Sean Payton would like the offense to get out to quicker starts. And to me, what I would do to try to make that happen is operate in the no-huddle offense for Bo Nix. It's something that he clearly feels comfortable in, because when they're down in the fourth quarter, they're going up-tempo, they're going no-huddle, and it seems to unlock his playmaking ability. It's what we saw from Bo Nix in college at Oregon under Dan Lanning. So maybe implementing a little more no-huddle earlier on in games gets Bo Nix out to a quicker start, because based on what the Denver Broncos schedule will be, based on what we're seeing from other teams around the AFC and teams in their division, namely the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos have got to get their offense going if they want to get to where they want to go.
Denver Broncos, we'll love to see if you keep the momentum going into the next week, but we do know one team that's been keeping the momentum all year round, and that's the Indianapolis Colts, dominant in all phases this Sunday against the Chargers. They attacked early, controlled tempo, converted critical downs, and they let Taylor and Jones, and I think right now they're the team that has 2 MVP favorites. Jonathan Taylor, 131 attempts, 882 yards, 11 touchdowns thus far. far at the start of the year. We got Jones, 152 out of 214 throws, but he has 1,838 yards and 14 touchdowns. That's Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. What do you feel about this Colts team, and are they the favorites this year to make it to the Super Bowl?
Let me say it differently. There are two teams in the NFL that I trust implicitly. The Kansas City Chiefs, what's understood ain't got to be said.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs are back. Don't know if they really ever left. And the Indianapolis Colts. Week over week, I know what I'm going to get from the Colts. And I know a lot of people were in wait-and-see mode with the Colts. They wanted to check out how that Chargers game was going to go before they were going to dive all in, 10 toes down. But listen, they dismantled the LA Chargers. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about an ass kicking, they beat them from pillar to post. I mean, they scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions. And get this, there was only 1 field goal in there. So when they was getting into the red zone, they was putting up 7. They wasn't settling for 3.
Converting it over.
They was dominating in that way. The defense got a couple of takeaways. We got a thick pick in that game. Shout out to Grover Stewart. You got a red zone pick by Nick Cross. You got playmakers on both sides of the ball. Jonathan Taylor's leading the league in rushing. Yeah, Tyler Warren, dog. They got a lot of receivers that are reliable. And all of them do a little something different in their passing game in terms of how they're utilized. Coming into week 7, the Indianapolis Colts were the only team in football to have 4 different receivers have 20 or more catches and each have a touchdown receiving. There's something special. And we know that when you get Daniel Jones in a position where he's got a good running game and he's got an offensive line that can protect him, good things are going to happen. Well, he's got all of those things in Indy, and he's got a bona fide defense. So, yeah, I'm bullish on the Indianapolis Colts. I think they've got to be a team that we look at as the favorite to get the 1 seed in the AFC playoff picture.
Just real quickly, because I think the carriage has turned back into a pumpkin with those LA Chargers. They've dropped to 4-3 since, the excitement around Justin Herbert and his turnaround, and they've shown a lot of exposure in their weaknesses, the rushing offense, the defense. What do you think about those Chargers now that maybe you would tell Canty week 1 when we were hyping them up?
It's the same story with the Chargers, just a different day, man. Injuries do it to them every time. Last year was injuries on the defensive side of the ball. This year's injuries on the offensive side of the ball, namely the offensive line. And listen, there aren't a whole lot of fancy X's and O's that you can utilize to overcome a shaky offensive line. If you can't block them, you can't beat them. Mel Kiper says that all the time, and it's true. Yep. If you can't block them, you can't beat them. And beyond that, you can't play the way that Jim Harbaugh wants to play, which is through the offensive line, through the running game. Remember, Jim Harbaugh, when he became the head coach last year, his first-round draft pick was an offensive lineman out of Notre Dame, Joe O, who's been banged up this year. But that's how he wants to play. He wants to play being strong on the offensive and defensive front. And right now, he can't be that because he's missing key guys on both of those units. So I think that's the biggest issue that the Chargers are facing. Now, no excuses. The quarterback is being paid to overcome that. And right now, Justin Herbert just isn't. So I think this is a year where we can look at him critically and judge him based on the pay scale, but also based on the talent relative to his peers. But yeah, the LA Chargers, I'll say this, they got me because through the first 3 weeks, I thought this team was poised to run away with the AFC West title. And right now, I'm not sure that the LA Chargers are going to be a team that makes the playoffs.
Oh, man. Listen.
Playoffs?
Playoffs. Shout out to the OG RP. Let's talk about this, though, because if you're having take problems, I feel bad for you, son. We got 99 problems, but a take ain't one. We got my guy, Canty. We're going to do rapid fire on 99 problems. We're going to talk about Thursday night Vikings versus Chargers. Still a quarterback carousel. Chargers are favorites. Do they bounce back?
Listen, I mean, I don't know which team bounces back. I want to say it's the Minnesota Vikings, but that would involve me trusting Carson Wentz, and that I do not. But I will say this, the Vikings defense is opportunistic. Justin Herbert has been struggling. I believe that Brian Flores will find a way to be able to manufacture pressure, manufacture some takeaways, create short field scoring opportunities for that Vikings offense. So I will give the edge to Minnesota. But here's the question that I have. Do we have a quarterback controversy in Minnesota? Because I understand the Vikings want to wait until J.J. McCarthy is fully healthy. But if the Vikings are winning games, then do you really turn it over to the rookie quarterback that has been a mixed bag up until this point in his career? I'm not sure that you do. So I think that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the general manager of Minnesota, have a very difficult decision to make. And that is rolling with the certainty of Carson Wentz versus the potential of J.J. McCarthy. And as my former coach Bill Parcells used to always say, when we use the word potential, it just means you haven't done it yet. Yes. That's where we are with J.J. McCarthy, and that's why I think we have the makings of a quarterback controversy as we get into the middle of the season.
Listen, we don't got no quarterback controversy in New York. They got a big game, which is going to be a revenge game for the Eagles. Eagles versus New York. This game is in Philly. What's going to happen, Canty?
Oh, I mean, you said no quarterback controversy in New York. I was like, are you sure? Because the New York Jets got some problems with the quarterback. But that's not a hit or there. We don't need to talk about a winless football team. I'll say this. I think the Giants have a chance with Jaxon Dart. I do. And I think that from a defensive standpoint, it's a good matchup for them because they've got dominant defensive linemen, and that offensive line for the Eagles has been banged up. And here's the thing, they've been one-dimensional. The Eagles can't run the football. They just can't. So you're one-dimensional against arguably the best four-man rush in all of football in the New York Giants with Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau. I just think the Giants match up well against the Philadelphia Eagles, and you got a quarterback in Jaxon Dart that's not going to back down. Now, that said, I got a bank full of respect for Jalen Hurts, and I strongly doubt that they're going to lose twice in a 3-week span to a rookie quarterback.
Listen, another NFC East team that we got to talk about. We talked about those Broncos a little bit earlier, but let's talk about them Cowboys. We got to mention the Cowboys one good time. We got to get paid. Yeah. But you've seen that big dominant win against the Washington Commanders. CD is back. I told you that CD Pickens duo when they come back is going to be amazing. They are going against the Denver Broncos this week. What's going to happen? Because the Broncos ain't got 3 quarters to play with the Cowboys. They'll get them out of here early. That offense looks amazing.
Yeah, the Cowboys are standing on GP now with CD back on the field. See what I did there? But here's the thing. Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP level. He is otherworldly. And I think that folks forgot that if Dak Prescott is fully healthy and plays in all the games, the floor for the Dallas Cowboys is 500. They're not going to be worse than that. And more likely than not, they're going to find themselves in the playoffs. That's just how good Dak Prescott is. I know that a lot of people are super critical because he doesn't have a ton of postseason success, but he's had a hell of a lot of regular season success. A couple of years ago, this dude led the league in passing. So, I mean, Dak Prescott can make it happen, and now he's got 2 receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens that on any given day can be the best receiver on the field. So I think that matters. And then, of course, you got Jake Ferguson controlling the middle of the field, short and intermediate zones from the tight end spot. But the sneaky, understated part of the Dallas Cowboys offense is their ability to run the football. Javonte Williams is having a renaissance season. This is more like the guy that we saw as a rookie in Denver. Yes. He is absolutely balling. And I can't help but think that there's going to be a little bit of a revenge factor for him having a chance to get some get back against his former team. So, yeah, I think the Dallas Cowboys are alive and well, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys get on a little bit of a roll here. Also, keep in mind, the Cowboys have been checking in on some pass rushers around the NFL. Jerry Jones did intimate after the Micah Parsons trade that he would be willing to use that draft capital on improving this year's team. So the Cowboys trying to add to that defense that's been porous through the first half of the season. They're potentially going to get DeMarvion Overshown back in November. He's entering his window to return to practice. So I just think that the Dallas Cowboys defense has an opportunity to add some firepower into round, into form. Don't sleep on those Cowboys. This could be a team that not only gets into the playoffs, this could be a team that wins the NFC East.
Listen, I told you weeks ago, if your name is Javonte, you got a ball. You can't have a name like Javonte in that ball. Hopefully he gives him the Rico Dow treatment to the Broncos. Hopefully give him that treatment. Two more games and then we'll go to the anchor statement, peaks and valleys. We call this the Rogers Bowl, Packers versus Steelers, Sunday night's football. Who you got?
Man, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. I'm not saying that with my chest. I couldn't believe it when I heard it earlier this week, but if the playoffs started today, the Green Bay Packers would be the number 1 seed in the NFC. That don't even sound right.
No.
Because at no point this year, well, maybe with the exception of after week 1, but after week 1, I don't think anybody looked at the Packers as the best team in the conference. But they've got a defense that has done a good job at showing up when they're needed most. Last week against Arizona on the road, Michael Parsons goes crazy, 3 sacks, wins the football game for them. They got playmakers all 3 levels on that unit. They've got a decent running game. They've got good weapons. The offensive line has been solid. The only question is, what version of Jordan Love are you going to get? And he's been steady. He hasn't been bad. He's 7th in QBR, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. But it's when the mistakes happen that give me the most cause for pause. Think about the Cleveland Browns game. It was a 3rd and 3 at the end of the game. They put the ball in the air. He ends up throwing an interception, gifting the Browns an opportunity to score a touchdown at point-blank range. That's one of those that you kind of want to keep in the chamber, do no harm in that scenario. First half against the Cincinnati Bengals, he throws a red zone pick. What are you doing? Joe Flacco just got there. Why are you giving him a turnover? Extra possession while taking points off the board for your team. So those are the things that I'm watching for with Jordan Love. And that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, if nothing else, is opportunistic. Now, when they played the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, the Bengals shut the faucet off, didn't turn the ball over. They weren't sloppy. Jordan Love needs to understand that as great as he is, as talented as he is, the most important job that he has is taking care of the football. If he can do that, then the Green Bay Packers will be poised to go on a deep playoff run. They're that talented.
I look forward to it. And shout out to Jim Mara. I know we gave you a reference when we gave you the playoff reference. I had a whole nother coach in mind, but I'm about to say one of his favorite quotes. They are who we thought they are.
Oh, Denny Green.
I had Denny Green in my head when we gave that Jim Mara breakdown, but they are who we thought they are. The Chiefs versus Commanders, Monday Night Football, 4-1-5. That's what they're calling that wide receiver trio. 4-1-5. They're out here. You had not only your top wide receiver back, you had Pacheco giving you a touchdown last week, and the defense showing up. Do the Chiefs keep their dominance this week going into week 8?
Yeah, how the hell they going to lose to the Commanders? Jaden Daniels ain't going to be out there. How the hell they going to lose that game? How they going to lose that game?
Worse things has happened. More surprising things have happened.
Man, ain't no way in hell the Chiefs are going to lose to the Commanders. That is going to be a good old-fashioned ass whooping. There's a reason why Vegas has got the point spread at 12.5, and it's growing. No shot that the Chiefs lose that game. No shot that they end up being complacent. I think the addition of Rashee Rice is clearly an injection into the arm of that offense. They've been explosive. I think Rashee Rice stepping in as the number 1 receiver allows those other receivers to slot into their appropriate spots. You got Hollywood Brown and you got Xavier Worthy, guys that can take the top off of the defense. Travis Kelce can be more of a complementary piece. And then, of course, you create more room to roam for Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt in that run game. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs offense is back, and they're back with a vengeance. Rashee Rice is the linchpin for what they want to do as far as the skill position core. And Patrick Mahomes, for the first time since 2021, has gone back-to-back games with 3 touchdown passes. I think this is just a prelude of more to come. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes is the current frontrunner for MVP. That offense is crazy. They had 30 first downs against the Las Vegas Raiders. 30. You know how hard that is? They had as many first downs as the Las Vegas Raiders had plays run in that game. The Chiefs' offense is dominant, man. People need to settle in and get used to it because they're going to be right back in the conversation for getting to the Super Bowl.
Well, you kind of helped through the alley-oop. We talked about basketball earlier. We got to do a basketball reference. Peaks and valleys. And we're not going to wrap the listeners up too much on this topic so we can get to wins and losses. But peaks and valleys during the season, you have teams that we thought were going to be beyond amazing. We thought the Chargers were going to come out kicking everybody in the face the way they balled out the first couple weeks. The Buccaneers. They're starting to show weaknesses due to injuries. But we just
talked about... The Ravens, my God. The Ravens fell off so hard, bro. They fell off so hard. Injuries, but they was bad even before they got hurt.
That defense was bad. Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
they were bad even when Lamar was on the field. So we can say it's injuries, but the Ravens is bad, man. They bad. They taking the ping pong table, the cornhole table, the basketball hoop out of the locker room. You know it's hard times when they're getting all the video games out of the locker room, bro. You know it's bad. You know it's bad.
They don't want to play no games no more. It's business time. But yeah. I don't. Well, we talked about.
Listen. I know we don't want to get on a tangent, but dog, there's nowhere in hell you can convince me that taking the video games out of the locker room is going to translate into winning. Like the video games ain't the reason why the team ain't winning.
Ask Kyler Murray that.
How Kyler Murray catches straight in here, man? You ain't right.
I'm sorry, but they had to take the games from him too. He wasn't reading that playbook. Let's see,
you ain't right.
But if we talk about some of these teams, I mean, right now we got peaks where we have the Colts being 6-1. We got the Lions doing what they're doing. We even got the Rams, and people were very surprised that the Rams are going to ball out this year. But let's talk about the Chiefs. They've seen a lot of lows in the first couple weeks, and now they're seeing a lot of highs in the locker room, in the front office, in the coach's office. How do you kind of handle those downward spirals that now can turn to, uplifting moments to show that the season has a lot of bright side?
Man, you got to be process oriented. You can't get wrapped up in the results. It's got to be about the process. And people that love the process, people that engage the process, people that approach it with the same level of urgency every single time are the people that eventually get on the other side of that adversity. So that's what it takes. Collectively making the decision that we're going to be process-oriented as a team. That's what sustains you through the ebbs and flows of a regular season. As Cam Newton always says, one of the co-hosts on First Take, he says, if you live for the cheers, you'll die with the booze. You can't get wrapped up in all of that. You've got to stay focused on the process. If you're process-oriented, you're going to find a way to work through the adversity.
Now, we talked about those Ravens starting 1-5. They're in one of those valleys. They're low. I don't see a way. It's kind of like quicksand. The more you try to pull yourself out of it, the deeper you go. Mm-hmm. Do you see that season turning around? I've never heard of a team going 1-5 making the playoffs.
No.
What's going to happen? And should Lamar just kind of rest his feet up and see what they can do without kind of furthering the injury and maybe getting a good pick out of it? I don't know.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl era, there have been 4 teams to start 1-5 and make the playoffs, so you have a 1% chance. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Not with that defense. Not with that defense. And here's the thing. Lamar Jackson hasn't played football in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you still have an issue with him not practicing earlier on in the week. They want to try to roll him out there on Friday and get him in practice and give it a go against the Bears in that way. I just don't think it sets up for us to see the best version of Lamar Jackson if we see him at all. Mm-hmm. And if he can't be at full strength, how is he going to overcome that defense how is he going to overcome that defense of his own, the Baltimore Ravens defense being so bad, going up against a Chicago Bears team that's playing with a lot of confidence coming off of 4 straight wins? I don't see how that happens, man. I don't see it.
One more team right here.
Here's the one thing I'll say, and I floated this out there before. Keep an eye on the head coaching situation with the Baltimore Ravens. Keep an eye on it.
That's a hot take.
Keep an eye on it.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Just keep an eye on it. Just keep an eye on it. Just keep an eye on it. It's some things down there starting to simmer. Keep an eye on it.
Well, from a former Raven, I'll say you got G5 classified information. So let's see if that's what that is. One more team that we see in the Valley, but I think they've been in one of those deep valleys just due to injuries, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker is not the front runner for MVP right now. They've kind of pivoted a little bit, but I still think he's top 3. What do you think is going to go on this year with the Buccaneers, and can they come out of that valley and turn into a peak?
Listen, man, I think the Buccaneers are knocking at the door. If they can get healthy at the end of the regular season, I think they've got a shot. The Bucs are still in pretty good shape. I believe they have 4 more division games left, and 2 of those are against the Carolina Panthers, who are their next closest competition. So I think the Bucs will be fine. Correction, they got 5 more division games. So the Bucs will be fine. I just think it's just a matter of them being able to get healthy. And right now they're not healthy, and they've reached a point where attrition has become too much for them to overcome.
Yeah, and listen, let's end on a high note. Let's take it to wins and losses for the week.
All right.
My brother Canty, what wins do you have for this week?
Oh, man, we got to go with Matt Stafford across the pond against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matt Stafford turning back the clock, throwing for 5 touchdown passes. The man has thrown 5 touchdown passes in a game in each of the last 3 decades. He did it in the 2000s, he did it in the 2010s, and now he's done it in the 2020s. Matt Stafford, 5 touchdown passes, no picks, completed passes to 10 different receivers. Your boy was out there lighting it up. If that back is okay, then the Rams are going to have something to say about who comes out of the NFC and get into the Super Bowl.
No, I'm with you, and we're talking about NFC. My win for the week is seeing them Dallas Cowboys go off the way they did. I've been talking to Canty about Javonte, and he finally gave a 100-yard game, 116 yards. He's following up that momentum from weeks ago. You see Dak balling the way he's balling, 3 touchdowns. But I love when you can see those wide receiver tandems go off. You got CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. We got George Pickens, 4 receptions, 82 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but my guy Jake Ferguson, for somebody that's been dry out here, needed Vaseline because he's been very dry out here. You know, if you got that double entendre, my bad. This is an adult show as well as but he's been very dry out here in these streets. But I think he's finally found the right mate because he's been getting touchdowns every week for the last 3 weeks, and I think that offense is molding into what I would think is a Super Bowl worthy offense. Now that defense, and you guys said this on First Take, my guy was on First Take killing it with Cam this week. You said it on First Take. Defense wins championships. So I hope that defense turns around and maybe they get a good pass rusher in these next coming days, coming weeks before the deadline.
Okay, who you got for your loss?
Man, my loss this week. Shoot, I really don't have a loss. I think if I have a loss, it's more so my pockets. You know me. You know what I did, Canty. You know what I did. You know I put one of them goddamn Jaguars on a goddamn ticket. You told me stay off the Jags. And Stephen A. voice, but I just couldn't. Again, I don't tell y'all guys my wins because I don't need nobody rolling up on me trying to stick my pockets up. I ain't like Canty and got security with me all day. But the Jags just keep failing me, man. I don't know what's going on with their team. I'm happy to see my guy Travis Hunter get in the end zone this week. Brian Thompson, I don't know what's going on with him. He's seeing that sophomore slump. But Travis Etienne, you are fool's gold. You've been tricking the hell out of everybody. You've been tricking more than Trick Daddy for the last couple decades. I've never seen somebody know that his job is on the line and go off, and then after he feels like he's solidified. Real quick, before I go on a tangent, I tell my kids sometimes I don't tell you good jobs and certain things because I don't want you to think that's the finish line.
Yeah,
I think Etienne thought that my contract is secured. I know it's a contract year for him. It's secured. I'm good because I've had a good couple weeks. Bro, you've been fucking all the way up, bro. Please. I'm not putting y'all on no more tickets. This is Scout's honor, Canty honor. I'm not doing it. But that's my loss for this week. Betting on them Jags is just keeping my pocket sad.
Wow. All right. I hear you on that one. I got you. I'm with you on that. I keep telling you about that. You can't trust them Jaguars, man. You can't trust.
What about you, brother? What loss? I don't know if it's them Dolphins.
I was going to go with the repeat offender with Justin Fields, but I felt like, you know what? Let me give the people something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Dabo Swinney down in Clemson. There have been 10 FBS coaches to get fired already this year, and your boy Dabo is starting to feel the heat. Now, there's a huge buyout down there, but guess what? $50 million buyouts are now rounding errors when it comes to big-time college football. And make no mistake about it, the people at IPTAY, the Booster Club for Clemson, they got the bread. I got a couple of family members that are a part of that, and they are frustrated, beyond frustrated with the state of affairs with Clemson. They just lost to SMU. They're 3-4 on the year. Now, this is a season where Dabo Swinney coming into the year said that Clemson could go 16-0. But right now, they're so far from it. And so when it comes to being able to keep up with the Joneses in big-time college football, it just doesn't seem like Dabo has been open to embracing the NIL and transfer portal like other coaches at Power 4 schools have been able to do. So, yeah, I don't see a path to Clemson getting back to its dominance in the ACC, because you got to remember right now, Clemson is looking up at teams like Duke, like Georgia Tech, like Virginia, like NC State, like Louisville, like Miami. Those are the programs that Clemson is looking up at in the ACC. And that's not where the Clemson alums want the school to be. So Dabo Swinney is catching a loss from this one. Probably not going to be his only loss for the rest of the season. Seats starting to get a little warm down there in Greenville, Clemson, Spartanburg. It's starting to get a little warm down there in Clemson. Starting to get a little warm. It stays warm seasonally around this. It's unseasonably warm with what's going on with Dabo.
Dang, Canty know all the coaches on the hot seat.
I'm just saying.
You know all of them. Listen, Canty, tell them where they can find you. Tell them what you got going on.
Hey, listen, man, you can find me on Chris Canty 99 on all my social media channels. Also can find me on Unsportsmanlike on all the social media channels. And, of course, check me out on ESPN Radio from 6 to 10 a.m. in the morning. Also on ESPN2 and EU. Unsportsmanlike, give us a follow. Also, check us out on In My Defense on all social media platforms as well.
As Canty has said, follow us on In My Defense podcast for behind the scenes, hot takes, corny jokes, dad jokes once baby Canty come out now. Canty gonna do all the dad jokes. You can find me at QEBeeman_1 on all social media platforms. You can catch us every Friday at noon Eastern time, 9 Pacific time, and follow us on all streaming platforms, as he said, at In My Defense Pod. And if you're following us on YouTube, like, subscribe. It's nothing personal, but hey, in my defense, thank you guys for watching.